Now let's talk about 5 steps that are going to help you regain motivation, because motivation it's not permanent. As that balloon showed you earlier, it's going to go up and down. It's going to be high at some points. It's going to be really low at some points. How can you create it? How can you manufacture it? So one way is to reflect on your goals. More importantly, I like to say, why did you start this? So take some time to reassess your goals. Why is this important to you? Why did you start in the first place? Why was this so meaningful that you said yes to it? And then make a decision from that place. Because you can remember why you said yes to this, why you said yes to wanting to lose weight, why you said yes to taking care of yourself. Then it changes and it gets you more in alignment with your circumstances and your aspirations. It removes all of the nonsense. Number 2, oftentimes we look at, again, I'm going to go back to the analogy of 50 pounds of weight loss. Let's just call it 100 pounds. It's a bigger analogy. If I said to you, go, I've used this analogy before. There's a 100-pound boulder in the corner of the room. Go get the 100-pound boulder and take it from that corner and put it over in the other corner. Like you could go and you could try to pick it up. You could try to drag it. You could try to push it. You could try to whatever. You wouldn't be able to pick it up. It's gnarly. It's got jagged edges. It's dirty. It's filthy. But if I went over and I broke that 100-pound boulder into 100-pound little rocks, and I said, every day I want you to go get me a 1-pound rock and take it over and put it in that corner. You could do that till the end of time. Honestly, some days you probably even do it faster than one at a time. But it's about breaking those boulders down into rocks and not allowing yourself to be overwhelmed by the magnitude of needing to lose 100 pounds. Like that's daunting to anybody. Like if I said I'm going to go run 100 miles, like holy, that's a long way. But if I said I'm going to run a mile and then run another mile and then run another mile and then run another mile, it's a progressible, incremental goal that I can achieve. And every time I get to another mile, it's going to boost my motivation and give me more power. But if I just keep going to that corner and keep trying to pick up that gnarly, big, nasty 100-pound rock, and I don't move it at all, I'm going to lose motivation. So break those giant boulders down to small rocks. And then you got to find inspiration. More importantly, I like to call it manufacturing urgency. You have to seek sources of inspiration that resonate with you. You have to be able to create those. This could be reading books that motivate you, watching motivational videos, listening to podcasts, getting around somebody who, when they speak, makes you want to run through a brick wall, surrounding yourself with positive, motivational, like driven, enthusiastic people. Like I call it the manufacturing of urgency. The most successful people I know can create urgency. It doesn't have to be even real. Like I can create a scenario in my brain where it's me against whatever, like the world. And that if I don't do these things, they're going to win. And I absolutely refuse to lose. So I'm going to do those things. That's a kind of a grandiose version of what it is. But I can create urgency based on my standards and my values that I talked about earlier. Because I want to feel that feeling of what it feels like to keep the promises to myself. Most people that I encounter have no urgency. They don't have urgency in the way they think, the way they talk, the way they move, the way they communicate with the world around them. They don't have urgency with their relationships, their love, their family, their jobs. Like it's almost like we're living in this zombie apocalypse of people just meandering through the world in this like blacked out version of themselves, zero urgency. But the most successful people I know are urgent. And urgent doesn't mean out of control. I think that urgency gets a bad rap. Urgency means disciplined, focused action. Like motivated movement, motivated thought, inspired movement. You ever been around somebody that they just looked inspired? They moved in an inspired fashion. They communicated in an inspired fashion. They even looked inspired. And the way they dressed, you're like, I don't even, that makes, you've been around somebody like that? Probably very minimally, because there's not many of them out there. So you find one of those jokers and you move in that direction. So if you find yourself and you're in that herd mentality, you're going to lose motivation. Right? You're going to lose motivation. You've got to be able to manufacture some urgency in your life, guys. It's got to be important enough to you to want to manufacture urgency. It starts with language patterns. You got to care. You got to use inspiring, powerful language. The next thing is creating or being involved in a supportive environment that influences you to want to be better. So you're here. If I'm not going to do anything, I am going to try my damnedest to try to influence you to want to be better, to want to live a life that is so unbelievably amazing and abundant that you can't even fathom how it's going to feel. That's what I want for you. I want you to feel that. I want you to live that. I want you to be that. But if you're experiencing the opposite of that when you're not listening to this call, when you're not at the studio around the energy, that's going to be problematic because you're influenced by your environment. If you're around people who are distracted, negatively influenced, disorganized, like just living that zombified life, you've got to make some changes in your environment. You've got to get around people that have goals, that are encouraging and supportive, that want to see you win, that aren't afraid to say, hey, that's not going to get it done. You're better than that, right? You got to do it. The last one is you got to take care of yourself. So here's the question I ask in this. How are you treating you? Remember to prioritize your health and your life, because your physical and your mental well-being, for lack of a better term, play a significant role in your motivation. When you're moving well, eating well, sleeping well, thinking well, talking well, around people that are having that same, can you feel it? Can you feel the flow of motivation, inspiration, enthusiasm, abundance? But you can also feel the opposite, right? When you're not eating really well, it's pizza time 2 or 3 nights a week, a few too many cold beers, right? Not sleeping, not going to the gym, not taking your walks, not surrounding yourself with positive, powerful conversations, right? Not eating, not exercising regularly, not managing your stress. When you don't take care of yourself, your body doesn't take care of you. But when you take care of yourself, your mental and physical bodies, emotional states will be so much more in alignment with resiliency. Talk about that all the time, and inspiration and motivation, that you'll be able to overcome the challenges because you'll look at them as an opportunity. And so if you'll think about these steps I talked about today, and you can navigate those and weave those into your life and really pay attention to what it is that you're surrounding yourself with, how you're thinking, how you're moving, how you're eating, how you're speaking, all of those things, that's going to diminish the motivational fluctuations naturally. And so if you'll do those things, you're going to get naturally more motivated. And then you're going to couple that with the discipline that we talk about, the 90-10 lifestyle. And then you're going to be absolutely unstoppable. And this is the reason that most of you that aren't having success. You don't have you don't have enough sustained motivation, and your discipline's not where it needs to be. So let me ask you a question. What do you think kicks in when motivation fades? Discipline, right? Discipline is the consistent factor. Discipline is the consistent metric on the flow chart. Where is your discipline level? If you're living a 90-10 lifestyle, 90% discipline, 10% freedom, and motivation starts to wane a little bit, you're still okay. But if you're living a 50-50 and you lose that motivation, what happens? Then everything becomes noticeable, right? Then we're gaining the 10 pounds. Then we're not sleeping well. then we don't feel good. Then our joints hurt. Then we're sick. Then we're depressed. Then we're overwhelmed, right? It's like it's all connected. So if you just pay attention to the metrics and where they are, like what kind of lifestyle am I living? Where's my motivational factors, the external motivational factors? Who am I surrounding myself? What are my inputs? How am I thinking, speaking, acting? All of those things. You're going to be able to dictate where your motivation is. And even for me, like motivation's not always there, but in lieu of motivation, my discipline's all that matters. I do it anyway. When I feel motivated, it's nice, it's awesome. But when I feel unmotivated, nothing changes. Because the consistent cofactor is what? Discipline. So get your discipline where it needs to be, and your motivation is going to be easier to manipulate. It's going to be easier to manufacture. And then when it's absent, you're going to win anyway because you're such a 90-10 disciplined person that the systems are already in place for you. Make sense? All right. Can you think about a situation you were just in that was demotivating? How did you respond to that? Like, what were your thought patterns? How did you get out of it? Like, are you still stuck in it? What can you do used on the information I gave you today to get yourself to a better place where you're feeling more motivated? What are the action steps that you can take? Like, action is always going to be the first thing, right? You're never going to think yourself out of a situation. You're going to have to take some action, right? That action might be a conversation, right? That action might be like having some dialogue back and forth, but it's never going to just be sitting in silence and like hoping that it goes away. You're going to have to create the environment that is conducive for you feeling more motivated, more inspired. So the things to ask yourself are, okay, what's my current discipline level? What's my current motivation level? And look at those like on a movable chart. And then you'll know exactly what it is that you need to do. Most of the time, it's going to be taking the necessary actions that you know you need to take. And like I said a while ago, it's like you're always going to feel more motivated when you're doing the things that are motivating. And I know that sounds a little bit silly, but like I know when you eat well, that you move better. I know when you move better, you eat better. Like they're all connected. When you sleep better, you think better, you move better, you talk better, you make better decisions with your food. Like it's all correlated and connected. And so if you're finding yourself like not connected, find the broken link in the chain and then work on that particular link, because that fixing that link is going to be the easiest thing you could do. And think about the controllables. Like every person listening to me right now, it's 3:00 here, 6:00 on the East Coast. Some of you guys probably haven't even eaten dinner yet. Now, most of you guys probably haven't. Your dinner choice tonight, what you put in your body from this moment on, will dictate your motivation and your discipline level moving into tomorrow. It's that important. And it's that easily manipulatable and controllable. Every single one of us can control our intake tonight. Easy. You're in charge of what you put in your mouth, right? And if you make those good decisions tonight, that's going to roll over into tomorrow morning. When you get up, you're going to feel more rested. You're going to feel not having a sugar hangover, right? You didn't have the booze tonight. You're going to get up. You're going to feel like going for a walk, going to the gym, getting some movement in. All of those things, that's going to lead to a better morning. That's going to lead to better decisions when you do break your fast in the morning. What am I going to consume now because I feel so great from yesterday? You're going to have better conversations. You're going to have better communication. You're going to feel better about yourself. All of those things will start to like roll over and over and over and over again. But we got to make the decisions, right? We got to do the little things that create the life that we really want to live. Question: what are the things that cause you yourself not to feel motivated if you ever don't feel motivated? I don't think there doesn't have to be a causative factor. Like this is what I talked about earlier. We have gotten so programmed that if we don't feel special, that there's got to be a problem. I don't feel special today, so there must be an issue. I should post on social media that I'm having anxiety or I'm whatever. You're not going to feel special every day. As special as I think I am, I don't feel special every day. Some days I get up and I'm like, Okay, this is how it's going to be. All right, some days I get up and the last thing I want to do is go for a 3 mile walk. The last thing I want to do is meditate. The last thing I want to do is go lift weights. The last thing I want to do, but I just do it anyway. Because I know that if I just do it anyway, that's going to kick the motivational level up for me. Like I never have a bad or unmotivated day, but there's times in the day, like there's moments in the day, there's everything where every human on the planet doesn't feel a great level of motivation. But those are the important days because those are the days that matter. Because when you perform on those days, because that's your standard, that's who you are, right? Just because I'm unmotivated, I don't get to go. Well, first of all, I can't go in my kitchen and eat nonsense because I don't have nonsense in my house. But I'm not going to feel unmotivated, get in my car, go to a drive-through, abuse myself with food, and then not go work out, and then drink 27 beers, and then sleep like it's such a defeating way to look at life. So when I don't feel motivated, right, and by unmotivated, that can just be sometimes you don't feel like doing it, right? Like we're humans. Like I'm a human. Some days I just don't feel like doing it, but I do it anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like I just do it anyway. Like there's going to be times when you just don't want to do something. But if your goals are important enough to you, right? And here, I'll give you an example. One of the reasons I do what I do is because of you guys. You guys will never know if I don't go for my walk tonight, if I don't work out tonight. You'll never know. You won't have a clue. Zero. There's no way you'll know. But I'll know. And that's more important to me than you knowing. Now, I don't mean that in a negative way. I'll know. Right? And I refuse to be that. That's not who I am. Right? That's not who I am. Nix, I don't break promises. It's like the analogy. These two little boys, and one of them, there was like this. I'm gonna screw it up, so I'm just gonna make up my own things. There was a piece of candy, and the teacher came in and asked one of the little boys and said, the candy was gone, and he said, "Did you eat that candy?" And the one little boy said, "I'm not lying. I didn't eat the candy. I'm not lying. I didn't eat the candy." He came in and asked the next little boy, the candy was gone, and the little boy said, "I don't lie." See the difference? So the first little boy said, "I'm not lying," meaning like, I'm not lying this time. The second little boy said, "I don't lie." That's an identity. He identifies as a human, the little boy that doesn't lie. And that's important, right? Because if I'm not lying this time, maybe I did last time, maybe I will again. I don't give myself that out. And that's how important I think language is. I'm not the kind of person. I don't break promises to you, to myself, to anybody. Just don't. Right. And that's motivated in of itself. When I don't feel motivated, that's where the discipline comes in. Like that's why it's so important to me to make sure my discipline is at a high level. 90% discipline, 10% freedom. Right. So that's the answer to the day that you don't feel like doing it. And truth be told, there could be a bunch of those days, or there could be a few of those days. Like I honestly don't give it that much energy because it doesn't matter. I mean, like some days, yeah, I'm just chipping. I'm firing on all cylinders. It couldn't be any better, right? I could fly if I wanted to. Those were great days. Those were fun days. Those days, those are the days that I feel like really cool. But sometimes, most of the time, it's the days where I don't feel like doing it that I get the most done, and that's because I'm disciplined. Right? And I'm not disciplined for any other reason than that's how I identify. I identify as a disciplined person. Like when you look at me, you will see discipline. You'll see discipline with the way I move. I move with a sense of urgency. I speak with authority and a sense of direction. I communicate at an extremely high level. I don't make excuses. I don't manipulate information. I don't manipulate myself. I don't allow myself to make excuses. I don't use negative language. Like you'll find if you just listen to me long enough, you'll find that I am the kind of person that moves with urgency. Everywhere I go, there's a reason and a purpose for where I'm going and why I'm going there. Even if it's in a casual setting. Like I'm never lackluster about anything because my life's too cool and too important. If I see you at a party and I have a conversation with you, we're going to have a really awesome conversation. Because it's an opportunity. It's a chance for me to get to connect deeply with another human. And if you're not good at conversations, I'm probably going to go find somebody else to have a conversation with. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but it's too important, right? And you have to be the same way. Like if you meet somebody and they're not interested in having a conversation with you, go find somebody who is. Everything's important. It all matters. Like that's why I don't get unmotivated because this life that I get to experience is so unbelievable because I've realized one thing. I'm creating it. I'm responsible for the outcome. I'm responsible for my level of motivation. And if I know I'm responsible, that means I can create it. That means if I wake up in the morning and I don't feel motivated, what do I have to do? I have to create that motivation. The one thing that I know that creates motivation for me is moving my body. That's it. That's the one thing that I know will create motivation for me. It's just moving my body. So you got to find a trigger for you. The last thing I'm going to do if I feel unmotivated is to do an unmotivating activity. So I hope that answered that question. I want to take a quick moment to talk about the sponsor of this episode. It is very dear and near and close to my heart because it is Lori's company, Spa Star. If you ever had the opportunity to watch someone create something from a thought or a vision and make this magical thing actually come to life, well, then you'll know why I'm so extremely proud of her and why I'm so excited to have her sponsoring the Thrive Forever Fit Show. If you've listened to my podcast, then you probably heard her on episode 259. If you haven't heard that, I would go listen to episode 259 as soon as you finish this episode. She talks about the story of how she created it, the adversity she overcame, the challenges that she worked through, and just the inspirational story that I know you're absolutely going to love. But what Spa Star is a luxury wrap. And it was created as a spa wrap for people who were getting beauty treatments. But what we found out is it is a piece for everyday life. People are wearing it as swimsuit cover-ups, resort wear, just to get ready in the mornings or for that special event. It is the most unique piece. And I've actually worn this thing several times. I was the actual first model for this. Maybe I'll show you guys some photos of that, Fred, when the time is right. But it is such a cool creation called the Get Ready Wrap by Spa Star. And because you're a listener, you get 15% off today because you support me. So just go to spastar.net, spastar.net, the word spa, the word star.net. And at the checkout, enter Thrive15, THRIVE 15, and you're going to get 15% off of your Get Ready Wrap. So many of my clients already have these and absolutely love them. We're selling them all over the country and all over the world, for that matter, to high-end luxury spas and to people just like you that are using them inside of their own homes. They're traveling with them. They're using them at the pool. It's so really just unbelievably cool to see and witness. And I'm so blessed to be a part of it. And I'm so blessed to have Lori actually sponsoring my podcast, which I think is really, really cool. So go check out Spa Star. I know you're going to love it. It is the coolest thing ever. And guys, this isn't just for ladies. This is one of the coolest gifts you could get any female in your life, for that matter. If Lori hadn't have created it, I would buy them for her as a gift to show her my love and appreciation. So dudes, if you're listening and you need to get a gift for your significant other or some special person in your life, go to spastar.net, grab a Get Ready Wrap. There's all kinds of colors. There's black, there's sage, there's a berry color, there's a gosh, I just went blank. There's a kind of a greeny, kind of avocado-y color. Really cool. You're definitely going to love these, I promise. So go to spastar.net, check it out, support Lori. And Lori, thank you for sponsoring the show. All right, let's get to the action. I hope you guys enjoyed that show as much as I did. And I want to say from the bottom of my heart, I am so thankful and so grateful that you take the time to listen to the show every week. And it means the absolute world to me. If you've got a little bit of time, It would mean everything if you would go and give the show a 5-star review on whatever platform you're listening on, as well as share it with a friend or family member that you think might find value in the show. And again, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being an awesome human and listening to the Overweight Mind podcast. Thanks, and we'll see you again next week. All right, bye. Quick moment to talk about the sponsor of this episode. It is very dear and near and close to my heart because it is Lori's company, Spa Star. If you ever had the opportunity to watch someone create something from a thought or a vision and make this magical thing actually come to life, well, then you'll know why I'm so extremely proud of her and why I'm so excited to have her sponsoring the Thrive Forever Fit show. If you've listened to my podcast, then you probably heard her on episode 259. If you haven't heard that, I would go listen to episode 259 as soon as you finish this episode. She talks about the story of how she created it, the adversity she overcame, the challenges that she worked through, and just the inspirational story that I know you're absolutely going to love. But what Spa Star is a luxury wrap. And it was created as a spa wrap for people who were getting beauty treatments. But what we found out is it is a piece for everyday life. People are wearing it as swimsuit cover-ups, resort wear, just to get ready in the mornings or for that special event. It is the most unique piece. And I've actually worn this thing several times. I was the actual first model for this. Maybe I'll show you guys some photos of that, Fred, when the time is right. But it is such a cool creation called the Get Ready Wrap by Spa Star. And because you're a listener, you get 15% off today because you support me. So just go to spastar.net, spastar.net, the word spa, the word star.net. And at the checkout, enter Thrive15, THRIVE 15, and you're going to get 15% off of your Get Ready wrap. So many of my clients already have these and absolutely love them. We're selling them all over the country and all over the world, for that matter, to high-end luxury spas and to people just like you that are using them inside of their own homes. They're traveling with them. They're using them at the pool. It's so really just unbelievably cool to see and witness. And I'm so blessed to be a part of it. And I'm so blessed to have Lori actually sponsoring my podcast, which I think is really, really cool. So go check out Spa Star. I know you're going to love it. It is the coolest thing ever. And guys, this isn't just for ladies. This is one of the coolest gifts you could get any female in your life, for that matter. If Lori hadn't have created it, I would buy them for her as a gift to show her my love and appreciation. So dudes, if you're listening and you need to get a gift for your significant other or some special person in your life, go to spastar.net, grab a Get Ready wrap. There's all kinds of colors. There's black, there's sage, there's a berry color, there's a gosh, I just went blank. There's a kind of a greeny, kind of avocado-y color. Really cool. You're definitely going to love these, I promise. So go to spastar.net, check it out, support Lori. And Lori, thank you for sponsoring the show. All right, let's get to the action. I hope you guys enjoyed that show as much as I did. And I want to say from the bottom of my heart, I am so thankful and so grateful that you take the time to listen to the show every week. And it means the absolute world to me. If you've got a little bit of time, it would mean everything if you would go and give the show a 5-star review on whatever platform you're listening on, as well as share it with a friend or family member that you think might find value in the show. And again, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being an awesome human and listening to the Overweight Mind podcast. Thanks, and we'll see you again next week. All right, bye.